The gavel slammed down like a gunshot in the empty courtroom, echoing off the marble walls of the Manhattan Federal Building, sealing Nathaniel's existence into oblivion with a single, merciless stroke. "He's gone," his mother whispered to the judge, her voice cracking just enough to sell the lie, while his father stared straight ahead, fingers drumming the polished oak table as if tallying the windfall already. But Nathaniel wasn't dead. Not yet. And as he watched the live stream from a dingy Brooklyn diner, the coffee in his mug turned to acid in his throat, because the man he'd called home for 30 years had just erased him to steal his soul. He'd always known they hated the parts of him they couldn't control, the ink on his skin from late-night tattoos with Isaiah, the pride flag pinned to his backpack in high school, the way he'd come out at 17 with a defiant grin and a boyfriend's hand in his. But this, declaring him legally dead after a faked car crash report, all to raid the trust fund his grandparents had left him, the one he'd built into a thriving indie bookstore chain, it was a knife twist deeper than any closet door slam. Nathaniel's phone buzzed on the greasy Formica counter. Isaiah's text, simple and searing. "Where are you? They just announced it on the news." "I'm coming." Isaiah burst through the diner's door 10 minutes later, rain-slicked leather jacket clinging to his broad shoulders, his blue eyes scanning the room like a hawk until they locked on Nathaniel's hunched form in the corner booth. The place was a relic, faded red vinyl seats, a jukebox crooning some forgotten Springsteen track, but in that moment, it felt like the last bunker in a war zone. Isaiah slid in across from him, grabbing Nathaniel's hands without a word, thumbs tracing the knuckles white from gripping that damn phone. "Talk to me, Nate." "What the fuck just happened?" Nathaniel shoved the screen toward him, the news ticker still scrolling. Local businessman Nathaniel Hale, 28, killed in fiery crash, family mourns. His face stared back from a stock photo, the one from their last anniversary at Coney Island. Wind-whipped hair and that stupid, happy laugh frozen in pixels. "They did it. Is Mom and Dad. They filed the papers this morning. Said I was driving drunk on the Taconic. Veered off into the ravine. Cops bought it. Hell, the whole city's buying it. And now, my accounts are frozen. But once the probate clears," he trailed off, the math too ugly to voice. The trust was 8 figures now, thanks to his grind, late nights stacking shelves, pitching to investors in dive bars, turning dusty tomes into a haven for queer kids and lost souls across 3 boroughs. All gone, siphoned to the people who'd raised him on conditional love and Bible verses twisted into nooses. Isaiah's jaw clenched, that familiar fire sparking in his eyes, the same one that had drawn Nathaniel in 5 years ago at a Hell's Kitchen poetry slam, where Isaiah had spat verses about stolen identities and reclaimed hearts. He was a tattoo artist by trade, ink-slinging in a Williamsburg shop called Rebel Skin, but his real canvas was the world. Murals for pride, fundraisers for shelters, a voice that roared against the silence. "We're not letting this stand," he growled, pulling Nathaniel closer across the table, their foreheads touching in that quiet anchor they both needed. "You're alive, babe. Flesh and blood and all the stubborn fire I fell for. We'll fight it, lawyers, media, whatever it takes. But first, we get you safe. My place. Now." They slipped out into the downpour, hailing a yellow cab that reeked of wet dog and yesterday's regrets. The city blurred past, Times Square's electric chaos, the Hudson's dark ribbon snaking toward Jersey, like a fever dream Nathaniel couldn't wake from. Isaiah kept one arm around him the whole ride, murmuring nonsense about Thai takeout and bad movies to drown the silence. But Nathaniel's mind raced back to the beginning, to the boy he'd been before the fractures showed. It started in suburban Connecticut, in a split-level colonial that smelled of pot roast and unspoken rules. Richard and Evelyn Hale were the picture of WASP perfection. Dad a mid-level exec at a pharma giant. Mom the PDA queen with pearls and passive aggression. Nathaniel grew up idolizing them. The way Dad's laugh boomed at barbecues, how Mom's hugs lingered just long enough to feel real. He was their golden boy, straight-A student, quarterback on the JV team, the kid who volunteered at church soup kitchens because it looked good on apps. But cracks spiderwebbed early. 13. He caught himself staring too long at the lifeguard at the community pool, heart hammering in a way that had nothing to do with chlorine. By 16, it was notebooks filled with sketches of boys' hands, poems he burned in the backyard fire pit. Coming out was a bloodletting. Senior year, after months of therapy sessions disguised as talks, he sat them down in the living room, Isaiah's predecessor, a sweet kid named Jordan, waiting in the car outside. "I'm gay," Nathaniel said, voice steady as he met their eyes. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, a gasp like she'd been punched. Dad just deflated, staring at the carpet as if it held the script. "This is a phase," Mom whispered later, after the tears and the "we love you, but" clauses. Dad nodded along, quoting Leviticus like it was a prenup. They sent him to conversion camp that summer, 2 weeks in the Poconos with counselors who prayed over his demons and made him run laps until he puked. He came back hollow, but not broken. Jordan dumped him a month later, scared off by the family chill, but Nathaniel rebuilt, Columbia on scholarship, interning at indie presses, turning his pain into prose. That's where he met Isaiah, or rather, where Isaiah crashed into him like a rogue wave. It was a rainy Tuesday in 2020, pandemic haze still clinging to the city, when Nathaniel ducked into rebel skin for his first tattoo. A small rainbow infinity loop on his ribcage, a fuck you to the camp scars. Isaiah was mid-session, wiping ink from a client's bicep, when he glanced up and froze. "You look like you need more than a symbol," he'd said, voice gravelly from a night of open mics. Like a story etched in. They talked for hours after closing, about Audre Lorde and James Baldwin, about growing up queer in straitjacket towns. Isaiah, with his Texas drawl softened by Brooklyn winters, shared his own war stories. Disowned at 19 after his evangelical folks found his Grindr chats, couch surfing until he apprenticed under a queer ink legend. By dawn, they were kissing on the shop's fire escape, the city waking below them like it approved. Love bloomed fierce and fast, the kind that stitches wounds you didn't know were open. Isaiah moved into Nathaniel's tiny Astoria walk-up 6 months later, their walls papered with dog-eared books and Polaroids of road trips, Asheville's Blue Ridges, New Orleans jazz funerals. Nathaniel's bookstore empire kicked off with Hale's Haven, a hole-in-the-wall in the village stocked with LGBTQ plus lit and zines from local voices. It exploded, pop-ups in Bushwick, a second spot in Harlem, then the chain. Investors bit because Nathaniel had that spark, the earnest pitch, the shelves that felt like home. His grandparents' trust, vested at 21, fueled it all, 8 million and climbing, a safety net woven from their quiet acceptance. They died before the coming-out bomb, but their letters, tucked in the will, said it plain, "Bu, grandson. The world's big enough for it." But Richard and Evelyn, they watched from Connecticut, simmering. Holiday dinners turned interrogations. "When are you settling down? Nate, that Isaiah, he's temporary, right?" Mom's emails dripped concern trolling about family values. Dad's silences louder than sermons. Nathaniel kept the peace, wiring them cash for emergencies. Mom's knee surgery. Dad's boat that never sailed. Gratitude? Nah. Resentment festered. Last Christmas. It boiled over. Dad. 3 whiskeys deep. Muttering about perverts ruining the bloodline. Mom nodding like it was gospel. Nathaniel walked out mid-feast. Isaiah waiting in the driveway with the engine running. "Fuck him," Isaiah said, hand on his thigh as they peeled toward the Merritt Parkway. "We make our own blood." Now, crammed in Isaiah's loft above the tattoo shop, exposed brick, fairy lights strung like constellations, the hum of the needle gun downstairs. Nathaniel paced the warped hardwood, phone clutched like a grenade. It was past midnight, the rain a relentless drum on the skylight, and the news cycle had gone feral. CNN looped the tragedy, pixelated crash site footage, stock flames. Thank God. Evelyn dabbing tears for the cameras outside the courthouse. "Our boy was our world," she sobbed, Dad's arm stiff around her. Nathaniel gagged, sinking onto the unmade bed, the sheets still tangled from last night, Isaiah's body warm against his, whispers of forever amid the world's unraveling. Isaiah knelt in front of him, elbows on knees, that steady gaze pulling him back. "Listen, Nate. Step 1, we document everything. Your passport, Social Security, hell, your dental records. We get a PI, a shark lawyer from Lambda Legal. This is fraud. Straight up. They can't just unperson you." His voice cracked on the last word, hand cupping Nathaniel's jaw, thumb brushing the stubble. "I got you. Always." But doubt clawed in. What if the judge bought the act? What if the banks transferred everything before they could appeal? Nathaniel leaned into the touch, inhaling Isaiah's scent, ink and sandalwood and home. What if I lose it all? Is the stores, the life we built? It's all I have left of who I am. Isaiah's lips ghosted his temple, promise sealed in breath. You are all I need. The rest? We'll burn it down and build anew if we have to. Sleep came fitful, dreams of gravestones etched with his name, Isaiah's voice calling from the fog. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, coffee brewing in the French press as Isaiah scrolled contacts on his laptop. Got a guy, ex-cop turned investigator, owes me from a Pride float job. Name's Marco. He'll dig into the crash report, find the holes. Nathaniel nodded, numb, but a spark flickered when Isaiah pulled him into the kitchen nook, their knees knocking under the tiny table. Remember Austin? That roadhouse where we two-stepped like idiots? Isaiah grinned, the dimple flashing. You stepped on my toes so bad. The band wrote a song about it. Laughter bubbled up, brittle but real, and for a moment, the world shrank to this. 2 men in boxers and hoodies, plotting rebellion over burnt toast. But the knock came at 9 a.m., sharp, insistent. Isaiah peered through the peephole, face paling. It's cops. 2 uniforms, badges gleaming. Nathaniel's heart jackhammered. Had they traced the diner IP? The stream? Isaiah cracked the door, chain on, voice all Brooklyn bravado. Yeah? Can I help you officers? The lead cop, a burly guy with a mustache like a 70s cop show reject, flashed a warrant. Isaiah Reyes? We're here on a tip. Suspicious activity tied to the hail crash. Mind if we come in? Nathaniel froze in the bedroom shadows, pulse thundering. Tip? From who? The only ones who knew he was alive were. No. Couldn't be. But as Isaiah stalled, buying seconds, Nathaniel glimpsed the second cop's radio crackle. Suspect confirmed on premises. Hale's boyfriend's place. Boyfriend. The word twisted like a barb. They were coming for him, for both of them. Isaiah slammed the door shut, chain rattling like bones. But the cops were already shouldering in, wood splintering under their bulk. Mr. Reyes, step aside, this is a search. The mustached one barked, hand hovering near his holster, while his partner, a wiry kid with nervous eyes, flashed Nathaniel's deceased photo on a tablet. Heart slamming against his ribs, Nathaniel bolted from the shadows, grabbing his backpack from the bed. Passport, wallet, a thumb drive of store ledgers. Window, he hissed, but Isaiah was a wall, shoving back with tattooed arms corded like steel cables. Like hell you search my home without cause, Isaiah snarled, voice a low thunder that filled the loft. The air thickened with sweat and tension, the fairy lights swaying like pendulums counting down. Nathaniel vaulted toward the fire escape, rain-lashed metal groaning under his sneakers, but a shout froze him. Hale! Nathaniel Hale! Stop! The kid cop lunged, radio squawking for backup. Isaiah swung, a wild haymaker that caught the mustached one's jaw with a meaty thud, buying precious seconds. Go! Nate, my truck keys, under the sink. He scrambled down the ladder, legs jelly, the alley below a gauntlet of puddles and trash bins. Sirens wailed distant, closing in like wolves. Isaiah's beat-up Ford Ranger was parked crooked at the curb, keys jangling in his fist as he hot-wired it, no time for finesse. Engine roaring to life. He peeled out just as blue and whites screeched around the corner, tires smoking on wet asphalt. Fuck! 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 Nathaniel gasped, knuckles white on the dash, Isaiah's profile sharp against the gray dawn. How'd they know? We were careful. Diner had no cams. Your stream was VPN'd. Isaiah's eyes flicked to the rearview, weaving through early traffic on the BQE. Tip line. Probably. Someone saw us last night. Put 2 and 2. His free hand found Nathaniel's knee, squeezing hard. But we're ghosts now, babe. Cash only. Burners. No traces. The bridge to Queens loomed, a steel ribbon over the churning East River. And for a heartbeat, Nathaniel imagined driving straight off, ending it on their terms. But Isaiah's grip anchored him. Jersey first. Marco's got a safe house in Asbury Park. We'll regroup. The drive blurred into hours of silence broken by diner stops. Greasy spoons off the turnpike where truckers nursed Joe and eyed them wary. Nathaniel's phone, ditched in the loft, left a void. No news, no alerts, just the hum of tires on blacktop. He dozed fitfully, waking to Isaiah's voice on a payphone outside a Wawa, murmuring codes to Marco. Eagle's Nest compromised. Falcon inbound. By noon, they ditched the truck in a Red Bank strip mall lot, hopping a Greyhound south. Faded seats, the acrid tang of desperation. Asbury Park hit like a boardwalk fever dream. Salt air sharp, Ferris wheel ghosts from a shuttered casino, Victorian gingerbreads sagging under graffiti tags. Marco's safe house was a third-floor walk-up above a dive bar called the Stone Pony, reeking of stale beer and regret. The ex-cop himself was a bear of a man. 50s, salt and pepper beard, Hawaiian shirt straining over a gut earned from too many stakeouts. Reyes, you look like shit, he grunted, ushering them in past a locked gate. The place was a time capsule. Bruce Springsteen posters yellowing on walls, a fridge stocked with Yanglings and cold cuts. Hale, Huh? Saw the obit. Real poetic. Fiery end for a book guy. He slid folders across a scarred formica table. Coffee steaming black. Digging started. Crash reports bogus. No wreckage matching your ride. Talk screen lost. In transit. But your folks? They lawyered up with a shark from Stanford. Corporate type. Smells like payoff. Nathaniel sank into a sagging couch. Folders trembling in his lap. Pages blurred. Affidavits from witnesses. Neighbors who'd seen the wreck. A mechanic paid to fudge VIN numbers. Evelyn's signature looped elegant at the bottom, right beside Richard's blocky scrawl. Why? He whispered, not expecting an answer. But Marco leaned back, cracking a beer. Money, kid. Always is. Your trust's ironclad. Probate kicks in 30 days. Transfers clean if you're deceased. They get it all, stores, residuals, the pot from your grandparents' estate. Word is, Dad's firm is tanking, insider trading whispers. Mom's got debts. Country club dues stacking like Jenga. Isaiah paced, fists balled, the room's dim bulb casting shadows like accusations. We sue. Exhume the lie. Drag em through tabloids. Marco shook his head. Slow. Risky. You're a ghost legally. Cops got your prints from the loft scuffle. Assault charges pending on Reyes here. Feds could pin fraud on you just to close the file. The words landed like punches, each one bruising deeper. Nathaniel's empire, Hale's Haven, with its rainbow murals and story hours for trans kids, hung by probate threads. One wrong move, and it crumbled to his parents' altar. That night, thunder rolled off the Atlantic, waves crashing like indictments. Isaiah found Nathaniel on the widow's walk, staring at the boardwalk's neon haze, wind whipping his hoodie. Can't run forever, Nathaniel said, voice raw. Isaiah wrapped around him from behind, chin on shoulder, their bodies a bulwark against the gale. Then we don't. We hit back smart, leak to press. Anonymous. Your story's gold. Queer son erased by bigots for bucks. Lips brushed his ear. Warm and insistent. You're not alone in this storm, Nate. Never were. They made love there. Urgent and unyielding. Salt-stung skin and gasped vows against the roar. It was reclamation, fingers tracing tattoos like maps home. Breaths sinking to the tide's pull. Afterward, tangled in threadbare quilts on the sagging mattress, Isaiah traced lazy patterns on Nathaniel's chest. Remember our first real fight? That gallery opening in Chelsea. You accusing me of flirting with the curator. Nathaniel chuckled. Lo. You were. But you came home with paint on your hands. From fixing my busted shelf. Not her. Isaiah's laugh rumbled. Damn right. We're fixers. You and me. This? Just another busted shelf. But sleep evaded. Ghosts whispering. By morning, Marco had leads. A notary in Bridgeport who'd signed off on the affidavits. Shaky under pressure. Crack him. The dominoes fall. The PI set over eggs at a greasy spoon. Plan hatched. Nathaniel as bait, drawing the notary out while Isaiah shadowed. Risky, but the clock ticked. Probate loomed. Banks querying transfers. They rented a nondescript Civic from a shady lot in Neptune. Isaiah at the wheel. Nathaniel shotgun with a burner buzzing Marco's updates. The drive north hugged the coast. Dunes blurring into marsh. Radio crackling alt-rock anthems. Against me, howling about survival. Tension coiled tight. Every state trooper was a potential snag. At a rest stop near New Haven, Nathaniel stepped out for air, lungs burning with brine and fear. A payphone rang, impossible, but he answered, heart seizing. Evelyn's voice, tinny and tear-choked. Nate, baby, is that you? We know you're out there. Come home. It's a mistake. We can fix it. Bullshit. How'd she get the number? Marco's line? He slammed the receiver, bile rising. They know. He choked to Isaiah, who gunned the engine without a word. Betrayal's aftertaste lingered, sour as the lie. But as they crossed into Connecticut, the Hale family manse loomed in memory, white-clabbered, picket fence, prison painted pretty. The notary's office was a strip mall hole, fluorescent buzz and formica counters. Nathaniel waited in the car, hood up, while Isaiah played decoy, feigning interest in estate docs. It went south fast. The notary, a weaselly guy named Harlan with comb-over and cologne like regret, clocked Isaiah's ink and bolted for the back. Marco's tip-off? Nah, someone tipped him. Tires squealed as Harlan's sedan reversed, clipping the Civic's bumper. Follow, Nathaniel yelled, but Isaiah hesitated. Cops swarmed the lot, lights flashing biblical. Ambush, Isaiah spat, peeling out the opposite way. Chase ensued. Hairpin turns through Elm City backstreets, horns blaring, Nathaniel's stomach lurching. A spike strip loomed too late. The Civic fishtailed, slamming a hydrant in a geyser of foam. They tumbled out, dazed, cuffs snapping cold on wrists. Nathaniel Hale, the arresting officer drawled, smirking. Or should I say, the ghost who walked, pinned against the squad car, rain mixing with blood from a split lip. Nathaniel locked eyes with Isaiah across the chaos. Cuffed, defiant, mouthing I love you. The world narrowed to that gaze, a lifeline in the flood. But as they were shoved into separate cruisers, sirens wailing toward the stars, Nathaniel realized the real crash wasn't the one they'd faked. It was the empire crumbling, love tested in irons. And somewhere, in the Hale manse, his parents toasted the unraveling. The holding cell in New Haven's lockup was a concrete crypt, reeking of bleach and despair, fluorescent strips buzzing like angry hornets overhead. Nathaniel slumped on the bench, wrists raw from cuffs, the gash on his forehead throbbing in time with his pulse. Banged up at 28, declared dead by family, hunted like a criminal in his own country, it was a farce darker than any Kafka he'd stalked at Hale's Haven. Isaiah was 2 cells down, their voices carrying in murmurs over the din of drunks and dealers. You good? Is? Nathaniel called, pressing close to the bars. A beat, then that drawl, edged with grit. Peachy, babe. Split knuckle, but I'll live. You, laughter cracked through, hollow but theirs. Thinking of you in that go-doffle orange jumpsuit. Sexy as hell. It pulled a grin from Nathaniel, fleeting as contrails. But the levity shattered when the guard, a stone-faced woman with a ponytail tight as her bun, shoved trays through, gray slop masquerading as oatmeal, a styrofoam cup of what passed for Joe. Lawyers en route, she grunted. Lambda's on it, pro bono for your type. His type. Queer ghosts rising from probate graves. The cell block hummed with stories. Trans folks fighting misgendered charges. Immigrants dodging ICE shadows. Solidarity in the stairs. Nods across the divide. Hours crawled. Nathaniel sketched escape routes on a napkin with a contraband pencil stub. Vent shafts. Laundry carts. Movie bullshit that felt real now. Then, footfalls. Marco, bursting through the visitor door like a bull. Hawaiian shirt askew, face thunderous. Bales posted, 10K each, courtesy of a donor slush fund. But shit, hail, this op was leaked. Notaries singing, but your folks' shark shut it down. And get this, the tip came from inside. Your mom's bridge club. Some busybody who spotted you on a traffic cam near the diner. Betrayal layered like onion skin, peeling raw. Evelyn's call hadn't been a Hail Mary. It was a hook. They want me back, Nathaniel muttered as the guard unlocked him, Isaiah materializing at his side, their fingers brushing electric. To what? Parade the prodigal fag before the will sign's over. Isaiah's whisper burned. Outside, Asbury's salt wind hit like revival. Marco's borrowed van idling curbside. Plan B, media blitz. I've got a contact at the Advocate, off-the-record meet in Philly tomorrow. But we ghost deeper. No more Connecticut. Philly was a 6-hour haul. Van rattling over potholes. Radio silenced for strategy. Isaiah drove, one hand on the wheel, the other laced with Nathaniel's, anchors in the adrenaline fog. What if we lose the stores? Nathaniel voiced the specter aloud. Staring at passing billboards. Pepsi smiles. Lawyer ads promising justice. Hale's Haven. It's not just bricks. It's the kid who came out last month. The author reading her debut. Isaiah squeezed. Eyes road-fixed. Then we rebuild. Zines in basements. Pop-ups in parks. Love like ours? It doesn't probate away. The meet was in a Rittenhouse Square cafe, leafy enclave. Hipsters tapping laptops amid the scent of pour-overs. Elena, the Advocate journo, was sharp, 30s, buzzcut, notebook tattooed on her forearm. Off-record first, she said, sliding into the booth. Voice a conspirator's hush. Dead man walking, queer edition. Walk me. Nathaniel spilled it all, the hook of the gavel, the faked pyre, Evelyn's crocodile tears on Fox and Friends. Isaiah filled gaps. The chase, the cuffs, the love that outran cops. Elena's pen flew, eyes gleaming. This is Pulitzer bait, corporate greed meets homophobic horror. But proof? Crash docs, bank trails. Marco slid a USB across. Scans, timestamps. Harlan the notary's sworn flip. Watermark it, the PI growled. We drop when probate hits. Maximum splash. Elena nodded, pocketing it. Stay dark till then. I've got crash pads. Philly's got a network. She paused. Softer. Heard your stores saved my sister's life. Baldwin reading series? She came out there. Gratitude swelled. A bomb. As they parted, rain spitting on Broad Street, Isaiah pulled Nathaniel into a doorway alcove, kissing him fierce, tongues and teeth and the city's pulse. We're warriors, Nate. Born for this. Crash Pad was a South Street walk-up. Eclectic chaos. Vinyl stacks. Protest posters. A tabby cat named Audrey curling on the futon. Nights blurred into fevered planning. Burner emails to allies. Crowdfunding whispers for legal war chests. Days, they wandered incognito. Reading terminals market bustle. Schuylkill River trails where joggers blurred faces. Intimacy deepened in the quiet. Lazy mornings tracing scars. Isaiah's needle sketches on Nathaniel's thigh. A phoenix from ashes. Freehand and flawless. Mark of the risen, Isaiah murmured, lips following ink. Love wasn't just survival, it was sacrament, bodies altars against erasure. But shadows lengthened. A week in, voicemail crackled on the burner. Richard's voice, oily smooth. Son, This charade ends. Your mother's hysterical pills again. Come sign the papers. Make it right. Or Isaiah pays. We know where he works. Threat veiled as plea, but venom clear. Nathaniel's blood iced. Isaiah, overhearing, went stone silent, packing duffels with mechanical grace. We bolt. Now, destination, D.C., Lambda's fortress, where lawyers plotted like generals. The Amtrak South was paranoia parlor, scanning faces in the club car, hoods up against prying eyes. Isaiah's knee bounced, betraying the calm. They touched the shop. I burn their world. He vowed. Lo. Nathaniel cupped his face, thumbs on cheekbones. We don't stoop. We rise. DC hit monumental monuments glowing under sodium lamps. Potomac a silver snake. Lambda's offices were a bunker, glass tower in Foggy Bottom. Rainbow flags snapping from balconies. Led counsel, a silver fox named Harlan, irony noted, greeted them at dawn. We've got standing, habeas corpus on your personhood. File by noon. Hearing in 24. Relief cracked the dam. Tears hot on Nathaniel's cheeks as Isaiah held him in the lobby, staff averting eyes polite. But Harlan's update chilled. Parents countersued, defamation, emotional distress, claiming you faked your death for sympathy bucks. And the trust? Banks are transferring tomorrow unless we injunction. Clockwork doom. Hearing loomed in federal court, a coliseum of mahogany and gavels. Nathaniel testified first, voice steady under the bench's shadow. The lie's birth, the chase's terror, love's lifeline. Isaiah followed, raw poetry. He's my north, your honor. Erasing him erases us all. Judges leaned in, pens scratching. Then, bombshell. Their shark recused conflict. Harlan the notary named names. Evelyn's bridge buddy? Paid informant. Richard's firm? Collapsing under SEC probes. The trust a desperate lifeline. Recess called. Hallway frenzy. Reporters scenting blood. Isaiah pulled Nathaniel aside. Alcove hush. Whatever comes. We're endgame. Kiss sealed it. Soft and sure. Verdict dropped at dusk. Injunction granted. Personhood restored. Fraud charges incoming on the hails. Cheers erupted, Lambda hugs. Elena live tweeting. But euphoria soured fast. Outside, paparazzi swarm. Flashes blinding. Mics thrusting. Nathaniel, your parents, vengeance or forgiveness? He froze. Isaiah's arm steel. Then, across the plaza, Evelyn, frail in pearls, Richard hulking beside. Nate, she called, voice breaking. Please. The confrontation was biblical, rain-slashed steps, security hovering. Why? Mom? The money? Or just me? Tears streamed, mingling with downpour. Evelyn crumpled, Dad's face ashen. We were scared, son. Losing you two. That life. The fund was for family, real family. Isaiah bristled, but Nathaniel held him back. This is my family. And you killed him to save yours. Richard's bluff cracked. The firm's gone. Debts. We thought. Evelyn sobbed, reaching. Forgive us. Humanity warred. Pity for their rot. Rage for the grave they dug. Nathaniel stepped back. Isaiah's hand ground anchor. Maybe someday. But not today. They turned, walking into the storm, back straight. Behind, wails faded. Ahead, life, reclaimed. but the backfire brewed unseen. That night, in a Georgetown B&B, four-poster bed, clawfoot tub steaming, news broke on the laptop. Richard's arrest. Dawn raid on the manse. SEC filings exposed. Embezzlement. The trust a pawn in bigger cons. Evelyn, complicit, facing perjury. And the kicker? The trust's fine print, grandparents' codicil. Upon fraud detection, assets reroute to causes advancing equality. Hales Haven, not lost, bolstered, tenfold, funneled to queer orgs, with Nathaniel Stewart. Isaiah hooped, tackling him to the juve. Kisses rain. Shocking way. Huh? Their scheme, our phoenix. Laughter pealed. Free. Dawn found them tangled, plotting expansions, shelters with libraries, ink shops funding zines. Betrayal's scar lingered, but love is scarred sweeter, deeper grooves for light. Months later, grand reopening at the village flagship. Rainbow balloons, Baldwin bust gleaming. Nathaniel cut the ribbon, Isaiah at his side, rings glinting fresh, vowed in a Cape Cod courthouse. Witnesses a motley queer crew. To the living, he toasted, crowd roaring. Evelyn sent a card, apology scrawled, and signed. He burned it, ashes to wind. Forgiveness, a work in progress. But humanity, in Isaiah's eyes, the city's hum, the shelves groaning with stories unbroken, that was plenty. The gavel's echo still haunted Nathaniel's dreams, but 6 months post-verdict, it morphed from nightmare to war cry, a reminder that ghosts could haunt back. DC's dust settled into a rhythm. Lambda follow-ups bleeding into brunch dates at Eastern Market, where Isaiah haggled for heirloom tomatoes like a Texan at auction. These better be queer-friendly reds, he'd quip, tossing one to Nathaniel, who caught it with a laugh that felt foreign, light, unburdened. The B&B stretched to sublet. A one-bedroom in DuPont Circle with creaky floors and a balcony overlooking embassies, where they'd sip cheap Cabernet and plot the empire's rebirth. Hales Haven 2.0 launched with fanfare. The original village spot expanded. Walls knocked out for a community hub, writing workshops, drag story hours, a tattoo corner where Isaiah guest-started pro bono. The trust's reroute was a miracle. 20 mil funneled through a foundation, stipends for authors, grants for shelters. Nathaniel's cut, modest salary, equity stake, enough to breathe, not suffocate. No more golden handcuffs, he'd say, signing checks to trans youth programs. Isaiah nodding over takeout pad thai. But the human cost lingered. Richard's trial loomed in Hartford. Evelyn in rehab, pills and guilt a toxic brew. Invites arrived, court dates, family therapy overtures. Nathaniel shredded them, but doubt gnawed. Am I the villain now? He'd whisper nights. Isaiah's arms a cage of comfort. Nah. You're the survivor. Villains don't rebuild. Summer scorched in. Pride a riot of color. Parades from Philly to Fire Island, where they escaped for a weekend. Crashing waves and bonfires with old flames turned friends. Isaiah proposed there. Casual as sunrise. Shell necklace slipped over Nathaniel's head. Words gravel soft. Marry me, Nate. Not for papers, for the story we write next. Tears saltier than the sea. Yes tumbled out, sealed with sand-rough kisses. Wedding whispers started. Elopement in the Smokies? Vows at the bookstore? Life curved toward normalcy. But normal for them was laced with edge. Fundraiser galas where donors eyed Isaiah's tats wary. Media hits probing the dead man angle like a scar to pick. Fall brought the reckoning, Richard's sentencing. Nathaniel flew solo to Connecticut. Isaiah's go if you need a talisman in his pocket. The courthouse was the same marble mausoleum, but now he strode in suit sharp. No hood, no fear. Evelyn sat front row, gaunt in Chanel, eyes hollow. Richard, orange jumpsuit, met his gaze, pleading, broken. Son, the judge cut him. Reading counts. Fraud. Conspiracy. Elder abuse on the grandparents' legacy. 10 years. Minimum. Evelyn got probation. Community service, irony. Lecturing at churches on family values. As cuffs clicked, Richard mouthed sorry, but Nathaniel turned away, while bitter. Outside, reporters mobbed. Forgiveness, Mr. Hale, he paused, mic in hand. Healing's not erasure. Its truth told loud. The clip went viral, X-threads dissecting, allies amplifying. Back in D.C., Isaiah greeted him with gumbo and a massage, thumbs kneading knots. Proud of you, he murmured, lips on spine. For showing up whole. That night, they danced slow in the living room, Coltrane on the turntable, bodies swaying to sax size. Vulnerability spilled. Nathaniel's fear of becoming them. Conditional love. Walls up. You're my proof against it, Isaiah said, fingers in hair. We choose open every day. Intimacy followed. Slow burn worship. Explorations rediscovered. Whispers of futures adopting. Maybe a kid with their fire. Winter dusted the Potomac in white. Hale's Haven holiday markets buzzing. Mulled cider. Queer carolers. Isaiah's pop-up booth inking festive sleeves. But cracks spidered subtle. Anonymous letters to the store. Sinners beware. Tied to Evelyn's church circle. Donors wavered. Whispers of drama. Nathaniel brushed it off. But Isaiah saw the toll. Sleepless nights. Coffee black as doubt. We're solid, he'd affirm, pulling him to bed. Let 'em rattle. New Year's dawned crisp. Resolutions scrawled on napkins. More road trips. Less rear view. They rang it in on the balcony. Champagne fizzing. City fireworks blooming like defiant stars. Spring thawed defenses. Wedding plans solidified. A small affair in Asheville. Mountains cradling vows. Invites went queer kin only. Elena as officiant. Marco best man. Audrey the cat ring-bearer in effigy. But pre-wedding jitters hit hard. Bachelor bash in Brooklyn. Isaiah's crew toasting with IPAs. Nathaniel cornered by a tipsy ex. Heard about the folks, rough. You ever think it's karma? For, the room spun. He bolted to the fire escape. Lungs burning. Isaiah found him. Concern etched. Talk. Words tumbled. Shame's residue. Fear their love was fragile glass. Isaiah listened. Then karma's bullshit. We're grace. Nate, unearned. Unbreakable. They stayed out there till dawn. City stirring below. Hands linked like lifelines. The ceremony was magic. May wildflowers. Blue Ridge backdrop. Elena's voice weaving Baldwin quotes into promises. In the joy of others, we find our own, she intoned, as rings, simple titanium, engraved with infinity loops, slid home. Vows raw. Nathaniel's. You saw me when I was invisible. Thank you for the light. Isaiah's. I'll ink your story on my soul. Every chapter. Kiss under oaks. Cheers echoing. Reception a hoedown. Fiddles and fireflies. Dances barefoot in grass. Honeymoon. Deferred for empire calls. But nights in a cabin loft. Tangled and tender. Sealed the bond. Back east. Life accelerated. Second store in Philly. Isaiah's mural commission for a shelter, giant phoenix over the Schuylkill. But the Backfire's echo rippled. Evelyn's release. Tentative call. Can we talk? Coffee? Nathaniel's thumb hovered. Isaiah's nod gentle. Your call. Husband. Neutral ground. A Bethesda Starbucks. Neutral as chain brew. She arrived fragile, hair graying, hands twisting napkin. I was wrong. Fear. It blinded. Tears flowed. Nathaniel's held, but cracked. You buried me alive, Mom. For what? Pride. She whispered sins. Richard's rages, her complicity, the pill's numbing regret. I love you. Late, but true. No absolution yet. Time, he said, standing. Earn it. Isaiah waited in the car, debrief silent till home. You did good, he said, drawing a bath. Soak turned to steam, bodies joining, forgiveness's weight lifting slow. Summer swelled. Store tour, cross-country, LA readings, SF zine fests, Austin Ink expos. Everywhere, stories mirrored, survivors sharing scars, building bridges from breaks. Nathaniel's book deal landed, memoir, Ghost in the Machine, ghostwritten none. Our story, he told Isaiah, signing advance checks to causes. Fall circled back. Anniversary marked with Coney Island echoes, hot dogs, Ferris wheel spins. But news pinged. Richard's appeal denied. Evelyn volunteering at a local Haven outpost, unbidden, but there. Card arrived, proud. Love, Mom. Nathaniel framed it, beside their wedding photo. Humanity's messy, he mused, Isaiah's head on his lap. Yeah, the reply, sleepy. But ours? It's art. By Thanksgiving, the loft brimished, Thanksgiving queer potluck, tables groaning turkey and tamales. Toasts to ghosts banished, futures bright. Nathaniel carved, Isaiah passed plates, laughter filling voids. Outside, DC twinkled monuments to men who'd fought erasures. Inside, their monument, love, human and whole. Yet, in quiet moments, Nathaniel pondered the shocking way. The schemes unravel, not destruction but detonation, scattering seeds. Parents' greed birthed abundance, betrayal forged steel. As snow flurried come December, curled on the couch with hot toddies and It's a Wonderful Life, Isaiah murmured, best plot twist ever. Nathaniel smiled, kissing temple. Ours. The new year dawned with a vengeance. Resolutions not lists but launches. Hale's Haven franchising to Chicago. Isaiah's tattoo collective expanding to apprenticeships for at-risk queer youth. Their DuPont nest felt snug, but growing talks of a bigger place, maybe with a yard for the family they daydreamed. Nathaniel's memoir proofs arrived. Red pen brutal, but Isaiah read aloud nights. Voice inflections turning pain to poetry. This sells millions, he'd declare. Mock serious. Then tumble him to rugs for celebratory ravishment. Laughter laced the lust. Year's weight lightened to joy. Spring brought blooms and bumps. Evelyn's visits tentative, coffee evolving to lunches, her stories peeling layers. Your father. He broke first. Firm's pressure. My enabling. Nathaniel listened. Walls thinning. Isaiah joined once. Wary but warm. Tats earning a flinch. Then nod. Strong hands, she said, tracing a phoenix. Like Nate's heart. Progress. Prickly as thistle. Richard's letters came. Prison scrawl. repentant ramble. Nathaniel replied once. Heal. Maybe then, talk. No rush, humanity wasn't highway, but hike. Pride season hit fever pitch. DC March. Nathaniel keynote voice booming on stages. From grave to grace. Love's the real resurrection. Isaiah beside. Pride flag cape fluttering. Crowds surged. Stories shared in afterparties. Hugs from kids clutching his book. You made it okay to be me. Tears pricked. Isaiah's squeeze grounded. Post-march. Hotel haze. Room service. Silk sheets. Bodies mapping milestones. Empire builders. Isaiah teased. Fingers in hair. And lovers, Nathaniel countered, pulling closer. Summer road tripped epic. Route 66 Redux. Queer pit stops, Taos galleries. New Orleans brunches. Van-packed books and ink kits. Nights under stars swapping tales. In the Badlands, around a campfire crackle, Nathaniel voiced the ache. Ever miss normal? Straight passing ease. Isaiah poked embers. Glow on face. Normal's cage. This is wild roads. Your shelves full of us is free. Words sank deep. Ceiling canyons. Fall's harvest. Book tour whirlwind. Coasts connected. LA signings drew Hollywood whispers. Option talks for screen. Isaiah inked celebs cameo. Smirking at after-parties. Your ghost stories Oscar bait. Nathaniel rolled eyes, but thrilled validation velvet. Home gaps filled with calls. Evelyn's progress, a halfway house gig. Reading your book, she confessed. Seeing me. Us. Bridge built. Tentative span. Winter whispered change. Plus sign on a stick surrogate news. A baby boy due spring. Shock to squeals. Ultrasounds became date nights. Tiny kicks symphonies. Names brainstormed. Jasper. After Baldwin's fire. Nursery painted. Bookshelves cradle to ceiling. Rainbow mobiles spinning. Our legacy, Isaiah said. Hand on swell. Nathaniel nodded. Wonderstruck. From dead to dad. Birthday dawn stormy. Hospital hum. Pushes and pulls. Isaiah coached. Tears tracking. Cry rent air. Jasper Hail-Reyes. Red-faced warrior. Latched fierce. World shifted. Feeds at dawn. Diapers daisy-chained. Sleep stolen sweet. Evelyn visited. Grandma tentative. Rocking gentle. He has your eyes. Forgiveness flowered. Not full but fertile. Years cascaded. Jasper's firsts. Steps in the bookstore. Ink-smudged giggles at Isaiah's knee. Hale's haven spanned coasts. Scholarships seeded. Richard paroled early, good behavior. Ghosts grappled. Meet at neutral park. Awkward nods. Ball tossed. Grandpa, Jasper queried. Time's tide. Eroding edges. 10th anniversary. Smokey's cabin redux. Jasper with aunties. Vows renewed under same oaks. Rings polished. Still my north, Isaiah vowed. Always south, Nathaniel echoed. Dance slow. Fireflies witnesses. Decade's end. Memoir sequel. Living ink. Launch packed. Jasper reading page 1. Crowd wrapped. After. Loft quiet. Family curled. City hush. Nathaniel traced Isaiah's lines. Silver threading. Best shock, he murmured. You. Kiss soft. Enduring. Life's plot. Not straight, but true kinks and climaxes. Love the through line. Human. Holy. In the shocking way. Schemes backfired to stars. erasure etched eternal. But light one. Always.